it's MK and I am back with another Follow a Sketch February. This time it's a double page, but I'm going to take that double page and shrink her on down to an 8.5 by 11. I'm kind of in the mood to finish off a couple of my albums, and to do that, it's all the smaller layouts that I just really am not excited to do, but they don't really need to be 12 by 12 layouts, seriously. So I just have to finish off some albums by doing a few like 6 by 8s, 8 by 8s, 8.5 by 11s, and pocket pages. And then my albums are like DUN done. Anyways, here's some of the product that I will be using. I'm going to be doing a photo of the catfish that my husband picked up off the dam. No, he didn't pick it up off the dam. He caught it off the dam over at the South Fork Lake, that is just south of Nevada, oh my god, it is just south of Spring Creek, where we live, is where this lake is. Anyways, I'm going to be using some 49 and Market rub-ons that I tried to use before, but you know what? They don't make it on the layout again, so this is twice. Maybe the third time is the charm? Who knows? I also have this rice paper from Stamperia. Let's get caught up on the whole voiceover thing. But it is a rice paper, so I'm kind of excited to use that. I think I've only used one of these before, or attempted to use one. I can't really remember, but I do know that I have a lot of this in my stash, and I'm super stoked to use it up. Have a bunch of cut-aparts from various companies, and I plan on using the Paper Rose cut-aparts mostly on this. And then, of course, a Mente background paper from Marina again. I think I have cabin fever, you guys, and I just want to start doing outdoor layouts. Not that I don't always do outdoor layouts, but I seriously want to start going and fishing and camping and stuff like that again, you guys. I am dead set on not liking being indoors, seriously, but our weathers sometimes get so bad that you're kind of stuck indoors for at least 2 to 3 to 6 months. But luckily this one here, it's February and it's 50 degrees outside Fahrenheit, and I am just stoked at the temperature. 50 degrees might seem cold to some, but when the sun is out in our area, it is like a heat wave, you guys. It is everybody outside, everybody play basketball. We go play not dodgeball. What's it called with the foot and the kickball? We go play that just across the street from us, and we have a blast. Every time the weather starts warming up, we are outdoor people, you guys. We are not meant to stay in the cabin. So anyways, what I did was I took a wet paintbrush. It was just water. And I made some circular marks and ripped my rice paper. That's it. That's all I did. It kind of sort of works a little bit like mulberry paper, so I'm not really sure if that's the same or not. And then I also picked up this really cool, I don't know, netting mesh weird stuff from Hobby Lobby over at the, I don't even know what department I was in. I was looking for burlap to make a wreath. And I found this stuff like so close next door that I thought I'm going to pick that up because I've always been in the lookout for some netting material. I should have bought 2, but that's okay. I can order it online. Seriously, I didn't know that. I thought that, like Hobby Lobby was only a big box store. I didn't know they branched out online. So now I can order the stuff online, and I'm super stoked about that. So one of the things that I wasn't sure about this rice paper is whether or not my adhesive was going to be shown through. So I kind of treated it just like it was vellum, and I put my photo down on this really cool mesh stuff, and then I put the photo on the rice paper, and that's where I put my adhesive. So as for the top portion, I'm not really sure how I plan on tacking that down just yet, but I do think I'm going to put liquid adhesive for the mesh, and I do have to hold it for just a little bit before it actually sticks to the rice paper, because the mesh stuff wasn't very friendly, in all honesty. Tear and tape definitely would have worked for this for sure, and what I should have done was figured out how I was going to decorate the mesh first, but that just seemed too complicated, so I kind of wanted to just, I don't know, work from the bottom up. I'm not really sure. I also have some leftover lures from a some assemblage required package. I already used the fishing pole and another lure. So I wanted to use this fish looking lure. It actually has 2 hooks on it because that is how my husband caught this, this huge huge catfish. You guys, this catfish, oh my gosh. And we smoked it. It was so good. I'm not going to lie. It was a very good catfish. It was the only fish that we did end up keeping. Normally we're a catch and release family. But he pulled out this big old honkin' fish and we had to have it. The title also, I'll get to that later, but the dam is a whole bunch of rocks, and to prevent people from climbing on the rocks and all the rocks going down into the flow of the lake, they put this big old huge mesh all around it. And I think it's actually like chain link fence, to be honest. I don't really remember it, but they kind of meshed up all these rocks so that way when people are climbing down to do all the fishing, because the catfish love all the flow from the dam, and so that is where they live. I mean, there's a guy there that, you know, like he throws up six or 7 of these catfish at a time, and then of course that's his limit and he has to move on. But it's just fascinating to see all this stuff. And when I noticed this layout, the first thing I thought of was the shape of the rocks, and of course these half circles, or quarter circles I should say, reminded me of that particular, you know, of this particular photograph. And so I thought, oh my gosh, that's going to be really cool. So at first I started looking into like paper that looks like rocks. And then I found this rice paper and I couldn't pass that up because it does kind of look like our rivers and the bottom of our rivers and stuff. So I was like, oh my gosh, that is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I know that my story just went way off left field. I have no idea what I was even talking about. But anyways, that is where I got the product. And then of course the mesh represents, you know, this mesh or the chain link that it goes over the rocks. And so that's kind of where I pulled out those two products. At first it was supposed to be rock-like material. And then of course it ended up being, you know, what looks like river water, rice material. Anyways, I went ahead and I just decided what I was going to do was put my cluster on the mesh up at the top and then use that as where my adhesive was going to go. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try to put a very light coat of this liquid adhesive all over the rice paper and see what it looks like. Well, I can't see it at all. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it isn't kind of like mulberry paper at all. And so later on, I'm going to try and adhere all of the edges of this rice paper because it does kind of sort of get in the way, and I don't want it to shift or move or bend when I go to put it in the album. All right, so after this point, once I've done my circles and I've got my photos and everything else, the sketch kind of becomes non-existent. I decided to go ahead and decorate it the way I want it. My title is going to go down at the bottom of my photo because I have a good dead space for a title down there. And so I decided to take advantage of that nice circular shape and just kind of put things in the mesh. And then, you know, these gorgeous brads from Simple Stories that are still brads, by the way, they add to this layout so well because of the dome part of my rocks, right? I don't know. Everything just sort of kind of came together for this layout. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this except for the fact that this was my husband's goal for this summer, was to fish off this dam and pull out a huge catfish. And lo and behold, he did. This sucker was amazing, you guys. It had to have been 9 or 10 pounds, maybe even, oh no, I'm going to have to go way over that. It was like 4 or 5 gallons of milk that this thing weighed. So how much is that, you guys? It was heavy. It was very heavy hauling this thing back up the dam, because where the dam is, you have to hike down it quite a ways and kind of sort of like hold all your fishing gear. I mean, it's holy cow. It is a trek to get down there. There's a little stairway that they created to get to the pump room in the dam, but to get to the end of the dam where the two rivers flow into the lake is quite an exercise in itself, just saying. And so and putting on these gems. These gems were gifted to me by Karina Nielsen, and she lives all the way in Sweden. And so these are her little, this is from her little shop that she has in Sweden. And I was like, oh my gosh, these gems are so sparkly and so pretty. I want to put them on every layout. But they also have that peachy shine to them, and so they blended in absolutely perfectly. So I just absolutely loved adding these this little bit of sparkle to my layout. So my title, Little Big Fish. My son, the one that is standing up, he's the one that said, "That's a little big fish." And we just all started cracking up laughing like, what? Because all the fish that we were catching over in the actual lake were all teeny tiny little fish, and we kind of had to make it to where it's like, okay, I'm going to hold the fish up real close to the camera so it looks big. You stand about 10 feet back so that way you look like you're holding the fish, but it looks really big because they're like minnows, you guys. But we had a lot of fun, and we did accuse Isaac, who is my youngest son. We accused him of constantly catching the same fish because he was on a roll catching all those fish. Oh my gosh, it was great. All right, last thing I'm going to add to this layout is some white splatters. Now, the rice paper soaked up the ink like it was nothing, like it wasn't even there, like it was water. And so where the sparkle or where the white ink shows up is just on the embellishments and that mesh. It does not show up on the rice paper at all. So I kind of sort of didn't put a lot of effort into adding any white splatters after I noticed that it was just soaking up. And that is it. This is the end of the layout. I did, like I said, I took a 2-pager and shrunk it all the way down to an 8.5 by 11 just to help me finish out some albums that need to be finished. And it's the smaller pages where I feel like my creativity is limited on these smaller pages. To finish up the albums, though, I think I keep repeating myself in a different format. Also added some twine to my lure to make it look like we just threw it into the bottom of the ocean type of deal, or not ocean, but into the bottom of the river type of deal. And yeah, that's it. Be sure to check out the Facebook page for Follow a Sketch February. It is the Scrapping Reflections Facebook page, who is ran by Scrap Goddess, who is Sandy here on YouTube. No, it's Sandy who's Scrap Goddess here on YouTube. I keep getting those reversed. But yeah, it is a pretty cool page, a pretty cool group to hang out in if you guys are looking for more inspiration for your scrapbooking. All right, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will check y'all later.